All right. I'm just gonna do this before I head out, but I wanted to thank Trump for sending people in. The only thing is that I don't think he's doing enough. I'm definitely a boots on the ground kind of guy. When I was in the military, I was a grunt. I was an 18 X-ray. I got selected for special forces, left the Q course, and then I got disappointed to be with a bunch of grunts. Like seriously, as soon as I fucking got to Alaska and I had to be an infantryman, I knew I had fucked up. I literally just like, oh God, I threw away my fucking golden ticket. I had a golden ticket. And I want to know how, want to know why. I knew I fucked up the first day I was infantry. The first day I got there, within 5-10 minutes of just looking around, sitting in formation at parade rest, it's like just a position you sit at and wait while you're waiting for some leadership to show up to tell you to do your little fucking thing so you can go do PT, physical training. And someone came storming in, I would assume an NCO, probably like an E7 type. And I don't know, just started bitching about cigarette butts outside. They had a Folgers can, big old Folgers can, sitting there for soldiers to put their cigarette butts in. But of course, there's dozens of cigarettes all around the fucking thing, all over the goddamn snow and gravel and salt. Because Joe can't do the fucking right thing. And the thing that sucks about the military, and I'll tell you especially about infantry, there are so many that are doing the wrong thing. That like if you want to do the right thing, you're gonna be alone. And trust me, I was alone a lot. I volunteered to DD a lot. I seen all these guys getting these fucking DUIs all the fucking time, putting other people's lives at risk, in danger, when they supposedly signed up to serve this country and keep people safe. I took my job very, very seriously, much more seriously than any of these fucking clowns that I served with in the infantry, I'll tell you that. And the reason I say this is because when I was off work, my whole thing wasn't about drinking or fucking going out or fucking finding pussy or some other shit. There's always a time and place for all these things, of course. But no, I'd go to the gym. I would go to Frostbite Valley Tudo and work on my MMA skills. And you know, I got in trouble for fighting when I was in the military, but not out at the bars. I was trying to do it professionally. And I think I had 2 fights when I was in the first time and 1 professional fight when I was in the second time. I won all of them. Didn't train for hardly any of them. It's not even to brag. I wanted to train hard and put my full time into that and do that exclusively. I was tired of the military the first time I was in, tired of it the second time I was in. There's low to no standards in the military, just like with all these fucking police videos I always watch. It's the amount of fucking fat cops I see, whether it's men or women, to be quite frank, the standard has gotten so fucking shitty that even the women are allowed to get heifer cow on the job. The men and the women that are doing it. And so you just see that there's no fucking standards. And then you wonder why these planes start crashing and stuff like that, you know. Why you start having more malfunctions and stuff like that. That whole old saying about complacency kills. But anyways, getting back to that story about having to pick up cigarette butts. Now, here's my thing. I've probably bounced in and out of faith when it comes to God and Jesus a bunch of different times. Around this time, I can't remember whether or not I was fucking professing myself as a Christian or not. But I can tell you, as much as people tell you not to judge, I do it a lot. We all fucking do it. And it sucks to be around lesser human beings. I know that sounds harsh, because these are guys that served in the military. But I mean, they're no different than, you know, civilians that fucking throw their cigarette butts in the ground. I mean, I think that's one of the things that have probably irked me the most in my whole life is, you know, I'm not the cleanest or most tidy guy in the fucking world myself, but I'll be damned if I start leaving food stuff around for fruit flies to accumulate and stuff like that. Like, I had roommates that were, when I was in college, I had 3 chick roommates, actually. And, yeah, man, fucking Jello shots and all kinds of shit they would leave in the sink. Women are fucking pigs, dude. As far as, sometimes people don't really realize, like, not everybody is neat. Like, everybody always assumes that because you're a woman or because you're a man, like, you're organized and you're clean and you shower often and all sort of stuff. And, like, no, there's a lot of people who are slobs in every walk of life. In college, it's kind of different too, because everybody's getting sloppy drunk. So people tend to start to neglect things when their life's falling apart if they've been doing, like, maybe a little bit too much drinking lately or whatever. Because I've seen people who are like really, they know they've been drinking too much lately, and they're kind of like, man, I need to stop fucking drinking so much for a minute and get back on the wheel as far as like my grades are slipping or stuff like that. But if you go down that rabbit hole, but anyways, going back to the point of picking up cigarette butts is like just for the fact that I don't smoke. It's one of those things where it's like I almost refuse to do it. Like in this instance, it's like you're there on the first day. So you kind of got to do it. Plus, they just ordered everybody to do it, and everybody's already bending over picking up the shit. And, luckily I had to have gloves on. So it's not the worst fucking thing in the world. But I just, I remember growing up with that shit when I was a kid. Like, my mom and dad used to smoke cigarettes when we were on the road in the vehicle, and I would, like, stick my fucking nose up the damn window, damn near, to get away from the cigarette smoke. And I've always hated the shit. Maybe like the initial puff smells kind of good for some reason of a cigarette, but other than that, it's terrible. And I mean, like, I've tried to do it when I've been drunk before, like I try to take a few puffs of a cigarette. I'm just like, ugh, this shit is fucking just gross. I don't know how anybody like forces themselves to do this shit and then just keep doing it. But then you hear, when people, once you're hooked, you're kind of hooked. That's another fear I would have. And that, fear is a good thing. You don't want to get stuck on stuff like that. I don't understand why it's like fucking hip or cool to not give a shit about anything. Like, not about your health, not about the country, not about other people, not about animals, not about fucking peace, ideas that need to be fucking stomped out, in my opinion. I mean, goddamn, we're doing this whole thing. Like, do I really need to fucking bring this whole thing up about Islam? Is another reason why that was another thing that was very eye-opening to me in the military. Islamic extremism. If you're willing to fucking blow yourself up to kill people, especially, I don't think anybody should have a problem with fucking putting people like that down and the ideology that's attached to it. Same thing with communism. It's the same thing with socialism. It's basically a philosophy that's rooted in envy and wanting to rob people. And I understand. It's kind of like that movie Lord of War, that saying where he's like, the thing about an honest buck is they're so hard to make. And I can relate to that, but doesn't mean you know what I mean, burn down a whole fucking warehouse like this one guy would. The thing that sucks too is, like, I guess he was living in Ontario, Canada, where like one bedroom apartment's like $2-3 grand or some shit. I mean, my place is like a little over $3 grand a month. I mean, holy shit, that's crazy. To be honestly, and I mean, I have a nice apartment, but it's still really fucking expensive. That's $36,000 a month or a year. So, I don't know, I'm just headed towards sunset right now. Can't really see it too well, but I'll talk to y'all later. But yeah, I want to get back to this whole thing about not wanting to have to pick up after other people, that kind of shit. I think a lot of people feel that way. It's the same thing with taxes, same thing with anything else. Like, how do these people not get that some people are barely making it, and I don't want to fucking pay for other people's shit when I can barely afford my own shit? And that's how you know that, honestly, quite literally, probably both parties are out of touch as far as that's concerned. Like, I don't know if I really want to be the military to be fucking spending as much goddamn money as we do on the military either. I would rather be lean and mean. get rid of every fat motherfucker out of the military. Same thing with the police. Yeah, I would be absolutely ruthless when that comes to that shit, because guess what? I'm a 40-year-old man. If I can outrun a 20-year-old or a 25 or a 26 or a 27 or a 28-year-old or any of that kind of shit, and grapple them to the ground and all this sort of stuff way easier and way better than any cop could, that's a problem in my opinion. That means that you should get your shit together and start fucking getting on the mats at least once or twice a week. Bare fucking minimum. It would be every day if I had my way. And I don't want to hear the excuses of bad knees, bad backs, and all that other shit. I got bad knees, bad back, bad neck, and everything else. And I can't wait to get back on the fucking mats again. So it's one of those things. And I'm not a fucking cop. It's not my goddamn job. I've wanted to be a cop in the past, but I also refuse to fucking. I'm never gonna fucking enforce an unconstitutional law. I'm not gonna fucking ever put anybody. I'm not arresting anybody for an unconstitutional law or a bad one either. And quite frankly, I think some of these dispatches need to tell these Karens to fuck off once in a while. And I know you have to answer every fucking call, but at the same time, maybe while you answer that call, tell that motherfucker on the phone that, hey, that's not what this shit is for. Like, I watched this video of this dumb Karen-ass motherfucker just complaining that a couple were sleeping in their vehicle, and they've been there for the last couple of days on a public road. They weren't doing anything illegal. They weren't camping. They weren't even on the road. They were parked on the side of the road. Of course, they're like crack fiends for your ID. And in most states, I think this was Florida, they have to have articulable suspicion that you've committed a crime. They're allowed to ask for ID no matter what, but they're not technically allowed to get ID if they can't fucking articulate anything you're doing wrong whatsoever. They just want that ID so badly because every fucking call probably needs to be written down and has to have a case number and has to have who the people were that they contacted, and it just makes their life so much easier if they get an ID. And I'm starting to realize that's also a reason why there's so many fucking fat cops too, is because we are inherently lazy. And I'm sorry, but I also equate fat with lazy a lot of the time too. It means you're not getting your miles in. It means you're not fucking getting your rounds in. Honestly, you're probably not getting your rounds in as far as on paper with your fucking firearms, because you guys miss more of your shots to stop the threat, and you take more shots. Another thing I find pathetic. That's one of the reasons why I lean on stats so fucking hard, because honestly, that's about the only thing that's ever going to set any of us free if anybody ever fucking listens. Same thing with like what people think are common sense gun control. Like that 30-day wait period that killed this woman in Michigan on day 14. She got stabbed by her fucking boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever in her driveway. And because fucking people assume that if you want a gun, you're angry or some other crap. Like they assume a person's mindset. And maybe that's because these Nazi gun-grabbing leftist pieces of shit, the only time they ever think about guns is when they're angry. Maybe that's what's going on. And I don't think people ever really think of these things because they think that guns are for killing people because, they're killing people like Charlie Kirk. So it is what it is. I'm going to try to enjoy my ride here now, but you know what I mean? This is the land of hypocrisy and voided and unhonored contracts and anything you can ever name. This country has fucked up in every regard that you can even think of. And it's like, I understand that shitting on this country's wrongs in the past doesn't really accomplish much, but not bringing it up also means that it can happen again. Like with the Native Americans and the Trail of Tears, stuff like that. And it's like we still, to this day, we're like, well, we gave them casinos. It's like, all right, well, I think that everybody should have casinos or nobody should have casinos. How about that? This is a land of stupid. It's not the land of the free. Now, I keep on saying Idiocracy was a fucking documentary, not a movie. I mean, that's like a popular sentiment among a lot of people now. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. This is almost 15 minutes.